Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been another very long and interesting day. Almost midnight once again, but the recaps, they aren't going to stop. I told you I was going to make them, so here I am. The results, I hid them in a not so professional way, but some of you guys asked for it to create a little suspense to see what happened in the game. So the results are not shown, and you will see exactly what happened as the game progresses. It's round 3 of my first of 2 tournaments that I'm playing in Colombia on this trip to play 2 international tournaments, and I'm facing FIDE master Simon Perez Tangarife. 2000 rated, 1993. A young, I think he's 2 years younger than me, so about 16 years old. Clearly not a weak player whatsoever. And let's take a look at what happened in the game. So, I played d4, my normal opening, e6, and here I play knight f3, which is already a pretty big deal for me because I've always been playing the Catalan with the move order g3, just to avoid any other kinds of lines, exactly what happened in the game. But if I want to progress as a chess player, if I want to be a grandmaster one day, you cannot get stuck in the comfort zone. Yes, it's scary experimenting with new openings where you don't have experience in an open tournament against strong players like this guy, but it is what's necessary in order to improve. If you never play new things, you're never going to learn new things, you're going to be stuck forever. I need to expand my repertoire, so I play knight to f3. Not a big deal, but still, for me, it is. And we get bishop b4, the Bogo Indian, or the Bagalubov defense, where I play the second main move, knight b to d2. The idea of this move is mainly to just get the 2 bishop pair in case of bishop takes d2, not to trade off the bishop with bishop d2, and play somewhat of a calm positional game, although I'm telling you right now, that's the last thing that happened. There was no calm positional game. It was absolutely insane. My opponent played castles. I play e3, d5, a3, bishop e7. He decided not to give up the 2 bishop pair, but after bishop d3, which is the main move by the database, apparently not the best one for some reason according to the engine. That's a little bit too much for me. I'm still new to this opening. We'll get into all the details later. I play bishop d3. My opponent finds the best move c5. In many cases, c5 is the correct move to equalize in these kinds of structures. D takes c5, bishop takes c5, b4, and bishop to e7. Here I play bishop b2. All the moves for now are very standard and logical. And after a5, I already was having a bit of a dilemma because I was considering the move queen to b3. But as I calculated correctly, after a takes b4, rook takes a1, bishop takes a1, my opponent has d takes c4, and after I take back with whatever piece, he has knight c6 attacking this pawn, and that is not a very pleasant position to play. So I play the correct move, b5, and after a4, castles, knight d7. Here, apparently, I already have a very good position. And this is actually interesting because one of my comments made on the last video was saying that I'm often too confident. And of course, I absolutely accept all kinds of criticisms. There was even players watching my videos who are stronger than me, of course. But in this case, it was the opposite. I was actually feeling uncomfortable because this knight is coming to c5. The bishop is going to be attacked on d3, and I feel like I have some holes in my position. Turns out, I'm just much better. And so here, because I was so scared of knight c5, I went for this operation with c takes d4, knight takes d4, and knight e4. I started with queen c2. And then the idea was that after knight c5, I had knight to e4, and I would trade off this scary-looking knight. Turns out this was a little bit imprecise, and the correct move was simply to go rook c1. And knight c5 is nothing to worry about at all, because now after bishop b1, this knight, it looks nice, but it's not really doing anything at all. I have these 2 beautiful bishops, and my position is very, very good. But this is what we're here for, to learn from the new games, to learn from the positions that I am not so experienced in. So it was a very, very useful game for me. Either way, I played c takes d5. I gave up a bit of my objective advantage in the opening, But it's still a very playable position, and here is where I gained some confidence. I was quite happy in this position. I thought I don't really have any problems anymore. Rook d1, bishop f6, and here I just had to play e4. So a little bit of calculation issues. I was scared of knight f4, if it lets me play the move. The internet here is pretty bad. Okay. It says it's reconnecting. That's a shame. I was going to show you the variation, but after knight f4, turns out I just have no problems at all. Now we can play the move. After knight f4, I just have bishop back to f1, and this knight isn't doing anything, and I have a very good position. Let's say something like b6 to develop the light square bishop, and now I can just play knight c4, d6 is a weak square, this bishop is beautiful, this knight isn't doing anything, although once again it looks nice, and the engine is already giving +2, incredibly, just because of my development, the open files, and the weak squares. Instead, I was a little bit scared. I played knight to e4, and after takes, I'm still slightly better, as I understood, simply because this bishop has a very, very hard time in developing. And something like c6 would not be good, because then the c6 square gets very weak, and my knight will potentially jump into that square. So I play rook c1, king h8, with the idea of the move that he played next, but it isn't that strong. I also thought king h8 was a little weird. Rook d2, just a little improving move. f5, knight c3. This was the idea of king h8. And now after knight e2, e5, bishop b1, I played instantly. I was happy with this move, getting out of this double attack. Clearly I'm just better, because I'm basically playing up a piece because of this terrible bishop that is on c8. So, knight d4, the other knight goes to f4. Now I'm the one who has two very beautiful looking knights on these squares. The light squares are weak. This bishop is terrible, and I'm just much better. King h7, and here I played queen a2. My idea was to get out of this any kind of, double attack of knight c4, and at the same time threaten a move like knight e6. But of course, bishop a2 is just much stronger, because knight e6 would also be threatening to take the knight that is on e5. And there is no threats of knight d3, and g5 just doesn't work at all. This move g5, because now I just have knight e6, and in case of something like takes, if it lets me, I'm just completely winning after knight takes, after queen takes taking on f8 first and then taking on e5. So this would have been an instant win. Instead I went for queen a2, and my position is still okay. But here I started getting a little bit nervous, because I thought, yes, I'm still better, but I didn't really convert in the most precise way possible. After rook d8, queen c5, queen c3, it looks like I'm blundering a pawn. I play rook b2, bishop a6, knight takes f5, rook d1 check, king h2, and here comes a very important moment. I thought, of course, the most logical looking move is rook b4, simply getting out of the attack. It's the only square the rook can actually go to at this point. The problem is that I calculated rook b4, knight d2, if the internet lets me make the move, which is a pity. So you're going to have to do some calculation with me. I calculated knight d2, bishop c2, knight to f1 check, king g1, rook c1, and here I missed that I have this move rook to b1, simply getting out of any kind of discovering check threats by attacking this rook. And here I'm just much better in this position. My pawn structure is better, this pawn is very weak, my pieces are well placed, and this would be a very, very good position for me. Instead, I sacrifice the rook, as Levi Rosman would say. Bishop takes c4, rook takes b7, and my opponent plays bishop b3. And this is an absolutely insane position. Because you might be thinking, well, you just lost the game, right? This bishop is hanging. You can't take on e4. You can't play bishop c2, bishop d3. But here, incredibly, now we're going back to rook b4. Here, incredibly, I have this move, knight takes g7, if it lets me play the move. Knight takes g7. And now Lichess is going absolutely insane. I don't know what's happening. knight takes g7. And after rook takes b1, I have this incredible move. Well, here I just have, not rook takes b1, sorry about that. I meant after rook e5, and the bishop, it looks like it's just hanging. But here I have this incredible move, knight h5 check, king g6, and g4. And after g4, the king is just in a mating net. And black would be forced to take on h5. And then after takes, king takes, I just collect this pawn and I'm up a bunch of pawns in the resulting endgame. And this is just a winning position for me. So because of that, rook e5 isn't possible. Also, by the way, if he goes after knight g7, rook e5, knight h5 check. If he goes something like king g8, well, the leeches is going crazy. I don't know what's happening. Here I just have knight f6 check, and then I collect this pawn with the bishop, and I'm out of any problems related to the piece hanging on b1. So, knight takes g7 was played. Rook to f8, simply because he knew that this line was losing, but now I just play knight e6 check, king g8, take, take. And we're in this position where I'm losing this a3 pawn, and he has a dangerous passer. But I am up a bunch of pawns. So the game proceeded like this. I'm already in time trouble. Well, kind of. 4 minutes, as you can see on the clock. And here I start pushing my pawns. f3, king g3, knight takes a2. Rook to a1. And here I'm a little bit ashamed. Because I have the very, very simple tactical move. Anyone can find this move, no matter what your rating is. Simply knight to b4. And in case of rook takes on a7, knight c6 check, forking the king and the rook, I'm up 3 pawns in this endgame, and I am just winning the game. Instead, what happened was I had this tunnel vision, because I had calculated another idea previously, and since I only have 50 seconds on the clock, I just stuck to that idea. And that idea was rook a4, and in case of rook takes, of course, I have rook takes on c4. So my opponent played bishop b3 first, rook b4 with the same idea that was now played, that after bishop takes a2, I have rook to a4, and the bishop is just pinned to the rook, which means that the black pieces are completely paralyzed, and now black has to waste a bunch of time to get his king to defend these pieces, and in that time, I will just start pushing my pawns. So this wins as well, but of course the other move with the knight fork was just a lot simpler. King d6, I start pushing my pawns. A few imprecise moves were played, but I am up 4 pawns, and here there's not that much commentary I can do. I started pushing the pawns, and I ended up winning this game. So, this was round 3 of my trip to Colombia. Won a pretty good game, gained about 6 rating points, played against a FIDE master. All my opponents so far have been title players, so that's very cool. First a WIM, then an IM, and now a FM again. So, very interesting games. I'm definitely learning a lot, and I hope you are finding these recaps somewhat interesting and useful to you as well. If you want to follow me on my long journey towards the chess grandmaster title, then please consider subscribing to the channel. I would very much appreciate it. And I'll see you tomorrow with game 4 of this tournament journey, this trip to Colombia. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.